to Kansas, gateway to Oz. Under the rainbow, this is where it was. Hollyhocks and red ripe tomatoes, hand-churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. It's the best part of Dorothy's dream.
Today we'll hear about upcoming Kansas events and Around Kansas episodes and learn about the life and times of General Fred Funston. Next, enjoy stories about the Frontenac Bakery, over 100 years old and still baking bread. This week's From the Land of Kansas business and the important part Fort Wallace played in the Indian Wars of the 1800s. We'll end up with a poem from Ron Wilson. Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, Progress, powered by Kansas farmers. This segment is brought to you by Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, just a short drive down the Yellow Brick Road. Good morning, it's Wednesday and this is Around Kansas. I'm Frank Chafin and
I'm Deb Goodrich-Beisel. Good morning.
And of course the program is all about people, places, and things that make the state of Kansas a great place to be. And well, this morning I'm going to let you go first.
You know what? You're one of the things that makes Kansas a special place, Frank. Doesn't he? Don't you agree with me? You know, another thing that makes it special, we've got so many great people and places. Combat Air Museum, one of my favorites. And on April 25th, I am going to be one of the celebrity pancake turners for their annual breakfast to raise money to support the museum. My lifelong ambition to be a celebrity pancake turner. So the event itself is from 7 to noon out at the Combat Air Museum, which is located at Forbes Field, just south of Topeka. Come on out. This is a great one for the kids because you've got all kinds of exhibits. You know, what could be more fun? You got airplanes, you got a simulator. They can actually sit in the flight simulator. And if you go back to our archives, you can see the segment that we did on the Combat Air Museum.
Huh. So if I come out and get some pancakes, will you autograph them?
I will. I'll just scratch my name right in there. Write it in syrup. I'll write it in syrup.
Right. There you go. I grew up in Newton, Kansas.
Wonderful.
And we moved to Topeka in 1955. That very summer, they were filming a movie, Picnic. Now, of course, William
Holden.
Yeah, and Kim Novak.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, they filmed the movie Picnic in and around Halstead and in Newton. Well, I had moved to Topeka, and so now when I do see the movie, I see a lot of friends that I grew up with, because they used a lot of the townspeople as extras. So anyway, it's the 60th anniversary of Picnic and the filming of it in and around Halstead. So I'm going to kind of do some research and talk to some people and see if I can find some old classmates and do a story on Picnic.
Oh, what a classic. Yeah. Beautiful film, wonderful film. Yeah. You know what else is going on in April? This is National Organ Donor Month. You know, there's a month for everything. But we've got an incredible Kansas Connection story to share with you sometime this month on that. A couple of guys, one from Mississippi, one from Kansas City, who met through hunting, and one of these guys wound up giving the other guy his kidney. It's an incredible story. It's an incredible story, so I can't wait to share that one with you.
And of course, we'll also be continuing our tour of the opera houses around the state of Kansas and, of course, the wineries.
Did you have any idea when you started that how many opera houses there were?
No.
Or how spectacular they would be?
Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of them are gone, but a lot of them have been restored or are in the process of being restored, like the Jayhawk Theater here in Topeka.
Well, that's a great series. That's a really wonderful series.
So anyway, Around Kansas, we're here every Wednesday. So after the break, we're going to see what comes up today.
Biodiesel made from sustainable resources is diversifying our fuel supply. This year, biodiesel will displace over 1 billion gallons of fossil fuel nationwide. It's making our economy stronger and our communities healthier. It's working here and across America. Get biodiesel going in your community. Visit americasadvancedbiofuel.com.
Buying a car shouldn't be this hard. And at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, it isn't. It's actually awesome. Whether you want a new or used car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. Even if you want to custom order a new car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. See Toby's team at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're awesome. Tallgrass Commodities offers producers bulk commodities at a reasonable price with reliable service throughout the whole Midwest. To find out more about Tallgrass Commodities, visit tallgrass.us or call 785-494-8484. Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This segment is brought to you by Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, just a short drive down the Yellow Brick Road.
Welcome to Around Kansas, and we are filming today from Old Prairie Town at Ward Meade Park in the 19th century schoolhouse, and what a great location this is. We want to thank them for allowing us to be here today. And everybody that knows me knows that my passion for Kansas history is only surpassed by my passion for Kansas military history. So I'm just tickled to pieces to talk to you about one of my favorite Kansans today, and that's General Fred Funston. Now, Funston was not born in Kansas, he was born in Ohio, but his family moved to Allen County when he was really small. So he grew up in Allen County. He graduated from the high school there in Iola, and then he went on to KU. He was not an outstanding student, but he was well known and well liked, and some of his classmates, William Allen White, Ed Franklin, Charles Scott, and Vernon Kellogg, names that would all become famous in Kansas history. Now, when he was just a very young man, not long out of college, he joined a trip to Death Valley, California, and he wrote back to the paper in Iola about his experiences. He did an Alaskan expedition, went to the Yukon, and the stories of his exploits were just eaten up by people. He was a really good writer. Now, after holding several newspaper jobs, he heard General Dan Sickles, and anybody who's familiar with the Civil War, Dan Sickles is a big name. He heard him speak. He was pleading the cause of Cuban independence at Madison Square Garden in New York City. Funston signed up as a Cuban revolutionary, and he went to Cuba in 1896 and served 18 months there under the Cuban generals. During that time, he was wounded 3 times, lost 17 horses, and was captured once. His nephew later said that if he had not lied about his identity and swallowed his passport, he would have probably been executed for being a spy. After he got back from Cuba, the U.S. declared war on Spain, and so now the United States was in it. The Kansas governor formed the 20th Kansas Regiment, and he was picked to lead them. So they went to Manila. So he's fighting in the Philippines. The 20th Kansas, famed in the Philippines War. He goes back to the Philippines after the 20th Kansas comes out. It's Fred Funston who captures Aguinaldo, the leader of the opposition, essentially. It's just one of the most famous moments in history. Another famous moment in history, the San Francisco earthquake, 1906, and Fred Funston is front and center. He's the commander there, the military post at San Francisco. He's the one that bulldozes buildings in the paths of the fire. He makes national news one more time. Amazing guy. He's one you got to find out more about. We'll be right back.
I'm Dr. Frank Lyons, a physician here at Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. As one of the only standalone stem cell centers in the U.S., we use your stem cells as therapy for arthritis and some autoimmune diseases.
I'm Dr. Andrew Poe, here at Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Utilizing the latest technology under strict protocols, we're able to harvest your stem cells from your own fat to treat a variety of medical conditions. The best part about it is, it's a same-day surgical procedure and requires no general anesthesia.
I will take action against herbicide-resistant weeds. I will know my weeds. and I will stop them before they go to seed. I will do whatever it takes to give my crops the upper hand, and I will use multiple herbicide sites of action because every action counts. I will take action, this time for all time.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Around Kansas, brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook, or visit us online at sftmeats.com.
Good morning, I'm Frank Chafin and this is Around Kansas. Today we're going to talk about fresh baked bread. There's nothing quite like the smell of fresh baked bread. Let me tell you a little story. When I was a kid growing up in Topeka, there was Buttercrust Bakery here, and their home office and bakery was located just off of 10th and Kansas downtown. So the smell of baking bread kind of permeated the whole downtown. Well, on Friday nights, friends and I would go to the movies at the Jayhawk Theater, and then we'd walk home, but we'd cut through the alley next to the building and the bakery where they were baking, and there was a little screen door there that you could kind of peek in, and you could see the cooling racks. Well, if you tapped on the door and were really nice, they might give you a loaf of nice, warm bread, and then off we went. Well, unfortunately, Buttercrust bread is no more. And, well, also the building had this big sign on top that said, Buttercrust is good bread. It was lighted up. You could see it all over Topeka at night. Anyway, the Buttercrust Bakery is gone, but the bakery we're going to talk about is still there after 100 years, and it's in Frontenac. Now, Frontenac is down in the extreme southeast corner of Kansas, where Joplin and Pittsburgh and Baxter Springs and Frontenac are. Okay, well, back in 1900, an Italian immigrant named George Vaca came there to work in the coal fields, in the coal mines. And anyway, a knee injury ended that. So he happened to bring with him an old family recipe for hard-crust Italian bread. So he built a huge brick oven and began baking bread. And it must have been good because they still bake it today. Okay, so George started baking the bread, and it has, like I say, survived since 1904. That's when the oven was built. Well, the bakery has changed hands a few times. George had it till 1944 when he retired. But each time it has changed hands, the contract specifically says that the same family recipe will be used. Well, of course, today the menu has expanded some. They make breadsticks and dinner rolls and cinnamon rolls, and they also make breadcrumbs that they sell to the 6 chicken dinner restaurants in the area that they can use in their batter for their fried chicken. That's another story we'll talk about sometime, the chicken dinner restaurants down there. So anyway, the baking there starts during the day, about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, when they mix all of the bread dough, and then it rises, and then the baking goes on through the night, because the next day the bread is packaged, prepared, and delivered by none other than the owner. And the bread is available in Springfield, Missouri, and markets there, in Wichita and markets there, and of course in markets all around the area. So how much bread can they bake? Well, this oven is big enough that they can bake 256 loaves at a time. 256 loaves of bread. Can you imagine how that must smell around the Pittsburgh area and Frontenac? It would be good. So again, after 100 years, this bakery still exists. They still use the very same brick oven that George built back in 1904. So the next time you're down in southeast Kansas and in Frontenac, well, be sure to stop in the bakery, and also be sure to pick one of the chicken dinner restaurants and have their fried chicken, because it is fantastic. So again, that's our story about bread. And by the way, the Frontenac Bakery is one of the 8 wonders of Kansas commerce. Wow. Commerce is great in Kansas, and it's wonderful to live here. And it's also a great place to come and visit. So for now, this is Frank Chafin, and I'll see you on the radio. I kind of stole that line, we know, on renradio.net Saturday mornings from 11 to 2. Tune in for the oldies. See you around here.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Hello friends, I'm Ernie Rodina.
And I'm Dawn Dawson with the Better Horses Radio Show.
For over 9 years, we've been bringing the Better Horses Radio Show to markets all across the Midwest. We talk about God, lots about horses.
We talk about cows, we talk about horse health, we talk to top trainers, and we even talk about Roy Rogers.
We are having a blast with Better Horses Radio Show and would love to take it to a market near you.
So visit our website at betterhorsesradio.com and let us or your local radio station know you'd like to hear it in your area.
The Better Horses Radio Show is unbelievable.
Tallgrass Commodities offers producers bulk commodities at a reasonable price with reliable service throughout the whole Midwest. To find out more about Tallgrass Commodities, visit tallgrass.us or call 785-494-8484.
Around Kansas, brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome back to Around Kansas. You know, when my friend Michelle Martin and I started working on our book, Kansas Forts and Bases, we just went through a list of all that we could think of off the top of our heads, and we started checking off the ones that we wanted to write about. Well, the one that we had a big fight over was Fort Wallace, out in Wallace County. And if you've never been out to Fort Wallace, they have a tremendous museum. There's a little town of Wallace right next to it. The town of Sharon Springs is not far away, and they have hotel facilities there, lots of great places to eat close by. But of course, this is not too far from the Colorado line. So it's way, way out there, but it is well worth the trip if you don't live close by to head out to Wallace. Now, Wallace is one of those forts that was so heavily involved in the Indian Wars. Of course, as soon as we get finished with the American Civil War, we're fighting Native Americans here in Kansas. So that is really heating up in the 1860s, rather, in that neck of the woods. Now, the railroad had not gone through at this point, 1865. So there is the Butterfield Overland Dispatch, which is basically the stagecoach route that was headed to Denver, and it went through that area. So you've got just a little stagecoach station there. So Fort Wallace was ordered to be built by General Sherman in 1865, and by 1866 they have a fort there. Now, like a lot of those western forts, it didn't have palisades or anything around it. Honestly, it was just a collection of tents and dugouts, and that's the way it opened. They gradually had some more substantial buildings there. But in June of 1867, there's a really important fight there. Albert Barnett of the 7th Cavalry is the commander when they meet the Cheyenne, and it is a fearsome fight, 3 hours long. He lost about 7 men in this battle out of close to 200, but those numbers do not reflect the intensity of this battle. And when you look out at the landscape, I've had the good fortune to walk that landscape a couple of times with Cecil Pierce out there and to visit with folks out at the museum. It's deceptively flat. You know, there are rises and just places that form the high ground you wouldn't expect. And it's really difficult to imagine how that very calm, quiet, except for the wind, place could have been the site of such an incredible battle. But it was really intense, and there happened to be a photographer there that day. So he took photographs of the aftermath of the battle, including the mutilation of a couple of soldiers. That made news all over the country. Most important thing, though, For the first time, the American Army realized what a formidable foe the Native Americans there would be. Where before they had boasted that I can take one trooper and I can whip 10 or 20 or 50 Indians, that day they said 1 equals 1 if we are even equal to their 1. It was a ferocious fight, and just one more nugget of history that is well preserved there at Fort Wallace. Go see them and tell them Around Kansas sent you. We'll be right back.
From the Land of Kansas is a trademark program that helps Kansas businesses grow, produce, process, or manufacture Kansas products. Let's meet Dale Family Farms, owned and operated by the Dale family for over 100 years. Located in Comanche County, Kansas, this property started with grandfather Carl Dale and has been successfully passed on to Bill and Helen Dale, and now to Kurt and Andy Dale and their 3 daughters, Natalie, Anna, and Allison. The Dales strive to remain sustainable by better utilizing natural resources like native grasses and alfalfa as forage for their cattle, as well as implementing improved grazing practices and reducing reliance on fuel and equipment. Their cattle graze in their natural environment, and even the laying hens and turkeys are allowed free range during the day, foraging for green grass, seeds, and insects. And their meat birds are housed in large pens that move daily onto fresh forage. For more information, visit their website at www.dalefamilyfarms.com.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information. Around Kansas, brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. Go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
I love the Flint Hills region, and the Flint Hills can be beautiful, especially at sunrise and especially on horseback. This poem is entitled Sunrise in the Flint Hills. Part 1. I was grumpy as I started in the dark before dawn, griping to my wife while I put my hat and work clothes on. But there's little time to complain. I need an early start. I saddled up the horse and was ready to depart. I rode down the gravel road. The sky lightened in the east. I needed to check cattle, so I was looking for the beasts. We went in the pasture gate and headed up the old dirt road. As we came up the hill, the day's first sunbeam showed. I rode on up the hill till I made it to the top. You can see a lot from there, so I reined up to a stop. The skies parted before me with the early light of dawn. God revealed a new creation for my eyes to feast upon. It was like a new world, unmolested and pristine, and my heart turned happy with the new day I had seen. The sunlight slowly spread across the ridges and the rills. I was witness to a miracle, sunrise in the Flint Hills. The Flint Hills of Kansas are the world's best for grass. When it comes to raising beef, this region's world class. These hills are productive. For raising cattle, they're just right. And in the early part of day, they're also a pretty sight. The dew on the blue stem made a shimmer and a glow as the sun cast its rays on the new world below. Sunbeams from the horizon made the glass illuminate. The vista was magnificent, the panorama great. I forgot about my cares, my problems and the bills as I viewed the awesome beauty, sunrise in the Flint Hills. This is the prettiest sight that I have ever saw. And then I saw some movement from straight across the draw. In the warm and growing light to my eyes it was revealed, a white-faced cow looking back across the grassy field. I could see that mama cow, then another, then some more. It was the herd of cows that I was looking for. I could see the big herd bull, and what was even better luck, I could see a newborn calf as he stood to stretch and suck. I love to see a baby calf paired with a mother cow. Could anything be prettier than what I see right now? I'll get a head count on these cattle, but it can wait till later. Right now, I'll just enjoy the handiwork of our Creator. There will be no more complaining, for I have known the thrills of seeing God's own hand at work at sunrise in the Flint Hills. Happy trails.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff Progress, powered by Kansas farmers.
Oh, this is where it was. Hollyhocks and red ripe tomatoes, hand-churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. We're the best